If you look across the street, you can see, total devastation all the way down
Unbelievable.
the entire block across the street. Everything's gone. But on
Unbelievable.
this side of the street, everything's still there.
This is a total pop-up opportunity to meet with Noah Abrams, who lives in one of the neighborhoods devastated by the Marshall Fire. It's called the Marshall Fire because of where it originated. And the other day, you were tweeting pictures of the 27 homes, of which your home is a part, that were fairly new construction and fire-resistant cement fiber siding and some other features. And it's just wonderful to know that your homes are intact.
Thank you. We live in the Rogers Farm community, which is in Old Town Superior. Old Town Superior was pretty much devastated during the fire, but when we came back to our homes the next day, they were all still standing, all the ones that had been built within our community.
What did that feel like? Because you're surrounded by families who've
Uh,
lost everything.
yeah, it was, well, first it was confusing because we had all kind of written it off and expected that our homes would be gone. So, there was a feeling of joy that our home was still here, but, at the same time, wow, we're just surrounded by people we know in the community that have lost everything and are going to need to rebuild
Unbelievable.
from scratch. These are some of the homes here. And you can see, this one's white. You can see all the charred parts on it, maybe. But it used to be a bright white color. Now it's a little bit,
Wow.
yellowish and with black spots on it, but it's still standing. Everything in the home was, the inside of the home was, except for a lot of soot and ash inside the house, everything was as we left it. But if you look across the street, you can see, total devastation all the way down
Unbelievable.
the entire block across the street. Everything's gone. But on
Unbelievable.
this side of the street, everything's still there.
A number of my friends from the Boulder area said this one really caught them by surprise because, these are densely built, sort of exurban, suburban, urban areas, not your typical zone where the fires happen. Did that feel like it was in the wind the other day?
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in the foothills. My parents still live in the foothills of Boulder, and I had decided I don't want to live in the foothills myself because I was worried about the fire danger. The fire danger was always looming when we lived in the foothills. In fact,
Wow.
we had to evacuate once, and it was a really scary time. So when we bought our house out in Superior, I thought, okay, this is great. We're close enough to open space, and I can still enjoy the nature, but I'm not in the foothills where we have forest fires. Well, little did I
Wow.
know that we would be facing a fire every bit as devastating as some of those forest fires they get in the foothills.
Oh my gosh. Were you all home at the time?
Well, we were, and I didn't really know about it until I was alerted by a neighbor. And even after looking out the window, I didn't think much of it because I didn't think there was ever a chance that we'd have a fire that would rage through these suburban areas. But after about 10 minutes later, I started to see smoke coming by our windows, and we evacuated in about 5 minutes.
Wow. Did you have like a plan or were you impromptu?
No, it was very much impromptu. When
Wow.
we lived in the foothills, we always had like a go bag, and we always had an idea of what we do if there's ever a forest fire. But living here, I never even thought it was a possibility. So we hadn't even thought about it. I grabbed a few of the things and got out as quickly as I could. Yeah. So this is our house here, and if you
Yeah.
look here, there's a get that here. There's a piece of plastic here that's melted to the side of our siding.
Actually, what you just showed is pretty interesting because it indicates it was material from another structure, not from a forest or the grassland.
Yes.
This is one of the issues.
Yeah, and if you look across the street, there's all this stuff burned right across the street. So that was coming right here, I'm sure, with, close to 100-mile-an-hour winds.
Was that whole, you said there are 27 houses that, were they built as a group?
Yes, they were built by a builder who built 27 homes in this area. And so you were able to come in, and they had a few different floor plans you could choose from. And then you could pick your finishes. So it was a new build by a community doing a new build subdivision. Fortunately, a lot of the homes in our community didn't burn. So, there's a lot of my neighbors who are in the same position I am. I'm very thankful for that. But yes, at the same time, there's, other people around here who you see come through looking at their homes and, crying, and they've lost everything, not just their home, but everything inside. Because that's the biggest thing for us, is we were able to get through this, and we still have all of our personal belongings. We didn't lose anything too valuable.
Well, that was just an opportunity to connect directly with someone in the fire zone who lived in housing that did not burn. This is a group of 27 homes that were designed not to burn. You could see a piece of burning plastic essentially stuck to the fiber cement siding, and it didn't catch and didn't propagate. Just the kind of thing you would hope for. So these houses have what's called a fiber cement siding. It looks like wood. It is very fire resistant. It's not like what it looks like. This is what happens when there is wood. This is a deck. A fence around a deck, and they're very different outcome. Luckily, it didn't spread. The landscaping in this new development is pretty much empty of shrubbery, trees. Some of that's because it hasn't grown up yet. So in a way, that's a stroke of luck. But that shows you that the perimeter of a home matters a lot. As Jack Cohen and the other people in my blog post have said for many years. Finally, a general shot of the neighborhood. One side of the road destroyed, the other side not. And obviously, there's many factors that could have led to that. But it doesn't hurt to have those houses built for fire. And even though they're in an urban area. So I hope you'll check out revkin.bulletin.com and do what you can to help. BoulderOEM.com is the emergency management website, which has resources of all kinds, including places to donate. And look around your own town, your own community for vulnerabilities that can be reduced, and see what you can do to make things better.